The tragic ordeal of Floyd Collins, a battle for survival in the depths of Sand Cave. In the annals of American history, few tales of exploration and tragedy are as haunting as that of Floyd Collins. It was January 30th, 1925, in the rugged terrain of Kentucky, when this seasoned cave explorer ventured into a labyrinthine cavern, little knowing that his quest for discovery would transform into a desperate fight for survival, captivating a nation and etching his name into the annals of human endurance. The lure of the unknown, a dream buried in stone. The 1920s witnessed a burgeoning fascination with subterranean exploration in America. People, often farmers, would tirelessly excavate their land, hoping to unearth a hidden cave. A discovery of this nature was akin to striking gold, transforming humble farmlands into lucrative tourist attractions. The more pristine and naturally beautiful the cave, the more eager visitors were to pay for a glimpse into its depths. This subterranean tourism industry thrived, promising fortune to those who could unearth and showcase nature's hidden wonders. Young Floyd Collins, too, harbored such a dream. He envisioned a cave on his land, a source of income that could uplift his family from their modest circumstances. Alongside his brother, he toiled tirelessly, digging and searching, their efforts eventually yielding fruit. A cave, a promising start to their aspirations. Floyd wasted no time in inviting the public to witness his discovery. However, a significant hurdle emerged. Floyd's cave was situated miles off the main road, where numerous other, more accessible caves already beckoned tourists. Visitors naturally gravitated towards convenience, leaving Floyd's remote cavern largely ignored. Undeterred, Floyd, a resourceful and determined young man, devised a clever solution. He decided to seek a partnership with the owner of a well-established cave closer to the main thoroughfare. He approached a cave owner, proposing a deal. He would manage the cave, guiding visitors and ensuring its upkeep in exchange for a share of the profits. The cave owner, seeing the clear advantage of offloading his guiding duties while still profiting, readily agreed. It was a win-win, or so it seemed. Before taking over, Floyd, ever diligent, requested to explore the entire cave thoroughly, familiarizing himself with its every twist and turn to provide the best possible experience for future tourists. Both Floyd and the cave owner were well aware of a particularly challenging section known as the turnaround room. This point, characterized by an exceptionally narrow passage, marked the extent of most previous explorations. Beyond it, the cave became incredibly constricted, earning its name because most explorers would reach this bottleneck and simply turn back. Crystal caves, formed over millennia from limestone and renowned for their stunning, attractive formations, were highly sought after by tourists, who were willing to pay premium prices to witness their beauty. It was such a crystal chamber that Floyd yearned to discover, believing it held the key to his family's prosperity. Armed with a lantern, Floyd embarked on his exploratory journey, unaware that this seemingly routine expedition would soon morph into the most harrowing battle of his life. The descent into darkness, a trap laid by nature. The entrance to the cave was incredibly tight, demanding that anyone wishing to enter do so by crawling. Undeterred, Floyd squeezed himself into the narrow opening, his lantern casting flickering shadows against the damp rock walls. As he inched forward, the passage gradually widened, eventually leading him into the very chamber he had dreamed of. A magnificent crystal chamber, its walls glittering with natural beauty. Floyd's heart swelled with elation. He had found his fortune. His mission accomplished, Floyd began his arduous journey back. The return trip through the constricted passage was just as challenging, requiring him to drag himself through the tight confines. Then, disaster struck. The lantern, his sole source of light in the inky blackness, slipped from his grasp, shattering upon the cold, hard rock. The cave plunged into absolute darkness, a void so profound it seemed to swallow all sound. 55 feet below the surface, trapped in a narrow passage, Floyd found himself in a predicament that would test the very limits of human endurance. Yet Floyd, a man of experience in such dark and confined spaces, did not panic. He had faced similar challenges before. Slowly, painstakingly, he began to propel himself forward using his legs. But fate, it seemed, had a cruel twist in store. A loose rock, dislodged by his movements, tumbled down and pinned his leg. Floyd struggled desperately, attempting to free himself from the unyielding grip of the stone, but the rock had wedged itself perfectly within the narrow confines, rendering all his efforts futile. He cried out for help, his voice swallowed by the immense depths of the earth. No one could hear him. To compound his misery, water began to seep from the rock above, flowing beneath him, a chilling reminder of his isolation. In that desolate, pitch-black cave, the solitary figure of Floyd Collins began his desperate struggle between life and death. The unfolding drama, a nation holds its breath, as the hours turned into days. The chilling silence from the cave's depths grew increasingly ominous. 24 hours after Floyd's disappearance, the cave owner, accompanied by his son, arrived at the entrance. The boy spotted Floyd's coat and hat at the cave's mouth, a grim sign. The owner immediately understood the gravity of the situation. Floyd was inside, but why hadn't he emerged? The owner ventured into the cave, shouting Floyd's name but received no reply. He continued to the turnaround room, the notorious bottleneck. This time, from within the tiny squeeze hole, a faint, agonizing cry for help echoed back. It was Floyd. The cave owner wasted no time, immediately informing Floyd's family. Homer Collins, Floyd's brother, a man of unwavering courage and familial love, plunged into the tight passage to rescue him. Navigating the treacherous squeeze point took Homer several agonizing hours, but he finally reached his trapped brother. He offered Floyd a meager meal of sandwiches and coffee, then assessed the desperate situation. Homer's initial plan was to widen the cave entrance, hoping to create an escape route. Armed with a chisel and hammer, he re-entered the cave, attempting to chip away at the walls. But the vibrations from his efforts only worsened the situation, causing cracks to appear in the fragile rock. The horrifying specter of a complete collapse loomed, threatening to bury Floyd alive. This plan, born of desperation, proved too risky and was abandoned. 46 hours had now passed since Floyd became trapped. The cave was so constricted that he couldn't even shift his body. Homer, witnessing his brother's agonizing plight, began to lose hope. The cave, though off the main road, was close enough to a highway that a large crowd began to gather. People were eager to help, but the sight of the unforgiving 9-inch squeeze hole filled them with dread, forcing them to retreat. 71 hours crawled by, and still no one dared to brave the treacherous squeeze hole except for Floyd's younger brother, Homer. Then, a peculiar figure emerged from the throng, a reporter, seemingly fearless, driven by an insatiable desire for an exclusive interview. This eccentric individual, heedless of the danger, squeezed through the 9-inch hole, enduring the sharp, jagged rocks, and reached Floyd. He conducted his interview, then emerged from the cave, his story now front-page news. The tale of Floyd Collins, trapped beneath the earth, went viral, becoming an international sensation. Thousands flocked to the site, a morbid spectacle unfolding before their eyes, all waiting to see how Floyd Collins would be rescued. 80 hours. The clock continued its relentless ticking. A new plan was conceived, a pulley system. A rope was lowered, attached to Floyd's body, and rescue workers began to pull. But as they tugged on the rope, the rock refused to relinquish its grip on Floyd's leg. Floyd screamed in agony, his voice raw with pain. He pleaded with his brother to stop pulling, fearing his body would tear in two. This desperate attempt, too, ended in failure. The slow fade, a nation's hope, dwindles. Over 100 hours had now passed. Above ground, a crowd of 10,000 had gathered, transforming the rescue site into a morbid carnival. The cave's frigid temperatures were a constant threat to Floyd's life, so a light bulb was lowered to provide warmth. Time dragged on, yet no viable solution for extraction presented itself. At 1:15 hours, Floyd's condition had deteriorated severely. A professional rescue team arrived, immediately assessing the chaotic scene. The sheer weight of the thousands of onlookers above ground was destabilizing the fragile cave structure, causing it to collapse incrementally. A member of the rescue team bravely ventured towards Floyd. Suddenly, small rocks began to fall from the cave ceiling, dislodged by the precarious conditions. The rescuer, realizing the imminent danger, attempted to retreat. By now, Floyd understood his fate. Escape was impossible. He was trapped in a cave that could collapse at any moment. He didn't want to die alone. He asked the rescuer for water, even though he had been drinking the water seeping from the rocks for days. The rescuer, sensing Floyd's desperate attempt to keep him there, to perhaps even trap him, quickly retreated from the collapsing passage. As he made his escape, the tunnel behind him collapsed, completely severing Floyd's connection to the outside world. Until this point, food had been lowered through the squeeze hole, but now, even that lifeline was gone. A new plan, born of grim necessity, was devised to dig a vertical shaft from the surface directly down to Floyd. The critical question was how to proceed. Heavy machinery could expedite the process, but the vibrations posed an extreme risk, threatening to collapse the entire cave on top of Floyd. The only safe alternative was manual excavation, a painstakingly slow process. It was estimated that hand digging would take another 30 hours. Could Floyd survive that long? The light bulb, initially intended to provide warmth, was still functioning. Ingeniously, a radio amplifier was rigged to the light bulb's wire. Fluctuations in the amplifier caused by Floyd's faint breathing provided a fragile yet undeniable confirmation that he was still alive. The digging continued, each hour feeling like an eternity. The estimated 30 hours stretched into 140, then 220. Floyd, starving and weakened, continued his solitary fight for life. 15 days passed, and against all odds, Floyd was still alive. Then the light bulb flickered and died. The last tangible link to Floyd was severed. Now they had no way of knowing if he was still breathing. Finally, on the 18th day, the excavation was complete. The rescue team broke through to Floyd. Homer, his loyal brother, descended into the newly created shaft. What he found confirmed their deepest fears. Floyd Collins was gone. He had lost his arduous battle for survival. The rock that had pinned his leg, the catalyst for this entire tragedy, weighed a mere 27 kilograms. And it wasn't even solid rock, it was a fragment of clay. But in that unforgiving, claustrophobic space, Floyd couldn't break it, couldn't even shift it. It was as if that small piece of earth had lain in wait for centuries, destined to claim him. The tragic story of Floyd Collins remains a poignant reminder of both the human spirit's resilience and its ultimate vulnerability when faced with the unforgiving power of nature. His ordeal, meticulously documented by the press, captivated a nation and stands as a testament to the dangers and allure of exploration. The rescue efforts, a desperate gamble against time and geology, showcase the extraordinary lengths to which people would go to save a life, even as the odds stacked overwhelmingly against them. Do you find stories of survival against overwhelming odds as compelling as I do?